Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com and P.L. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is Friday, August 10th, 2018. And as always, we'll take a look back at last week's eBay auction results and what's coming up this week. Take a look at Catawiki and see what's going on over there and what went on this week. And a bunch of other things, okay? But before we get started, I just wanted to mention one or two things. This is last week's newsletter, and I hope that those of you that missed it took a look at the video we did on the auctions of fakes coming up this month, August, around the country on live auctioneers, and they're on other sites as well, and what to avoid, basically avoid all of them. And somebody, by the way, emailed me or called me and wanted to know what I thought of some of the calligraphy and paintings in some of these auctions. And I take generally the same stance on all of it. If the jades are generally all fake, the bronzes and cloisonnés are all fake, the porcelains are all fakes and copies, you can be pretty sure that the paintings are also coming off the same pallets out of Hong Kong or wherever they're, Shanghai, where they're shipping them from, and so forth. So just avoid the auctions, okay? Avoid those auctions. And the other thing was this very nice piece of cloisonné that we featured last week because I thought it was beautiful, sort of in the manner of Namakawa Yatsuyuki, beautifully done. And for some strange reason, the seller pulled it or sold it or something. It didn't finish when it should have. And I checked it earlier today, and all the bids had been removed. So generally, that's what people do when they're going to yank something, so they don't end up paying much in commissions. They strip away all the bids and then end the auction. And I don't know why they did it. Maybe they got cold feet. But I apologize to everyone if you were interested. That's too bad. That was a nice, very pretty object. All right. And let's now move along and see how things did. First up is this really nice Kangxi Wine Pot. It was a beautiful example in Famille enamels. Beautiful example. Had a great foot on it. I love the foot on this. It's superbly well finished all the way around. And the reason I called it a wine pot was that the interior, which he did show, didn't have the pierced opening into the spout. It was just a wide open hole. And typically those are considered to be wine pots when they're like that. If they have the piercings to hold back the tea when you pour, then it's a teapot. But other than that, they're very similar. And this one did very well. It brought $517. It did just fine. Not an overpayment by any measure. And he's a fairly new seller. He only has one feedback. He's located in the UK, and I hope he gets more things. I hope this wasn't just a one-shot deal for him. He's fairly new, but we'll check back and see what he's up to. Okay. And then there were this nice pair of 19th century celadon ground relief worked underglazed blue and enamel decorated vases. These vases, as you know, most of the time these are pretty big. This particular shape is more well known in the 14 to 24 inch area. These were small. These were only just a little over, I think, about 9 inches tall. But beautifully decorated, nice bright colors, and the gilding was all in very good shape. You notice here and here, often the gilding on these gets cleaned off over the years, especially if they used ammonia. Ammonia will strip gilding off of porcelain pretty handily. So whoever cleaned these and took care of them well. And they did fine. They did quite well. They brought $1,125 for the pair. All right. The big ones of these can bring several thousand with this quality of enameling. But they were a nice looking pair of vases. All right, and on to this. This was the Chinese tankard, late 19th, early 20th century tankard with a dragon handle on it. And I love the shape of it. The shape is very reminiscent of the shape you sometimes see on Kangxi tankards with this straight neck that's has a slight flange on it, and then this rounded body. I think there's even one of these coming up in the newsletter this week. But at any rate, it was a beautiful thing, very high quality repoussé work, nicely chased, and it did pretty well. It brought $1,175. All right. It was also signed, it had initials on it. All right, and on to these. This is that pair of, they were around 10 inches tall cylinder vases, second half of the 19th century, Famille rose enamels, nice looking. And they did pretty well. These weren't huge. Again, these are vases that came in, every size from 6 or 7 inches even, all the way up to 20, 25 inches at times, okay? These were 10. These ran on the small side. And they went for $552 with some restoration. All right, Grace Mount Antiques had these. All right, and on to this. This was the ink set. This was an assembled set made in the West, either by a number of jewelry stores made these in New York back in the 20s and 30s, and in Boston, Yamanaka Company would assemble these in particular. There were some others, and they would take old pieces of jade and use them to make lamp finials. And here they had some metalwork made up, and added these shell-marked beads. These would have been beads on a string to make the feet and so forth, and they'd pin it all together. These were all hand done. These were all handmade. They're quite nice, and it went for $600 exactly. Now, bear in mind that if you come across one of these that was done and it was marked by, like I said, Yamanaka or some other company in New York, the prices are a lot higher. This particular set would have sold for 2 to 3 times the amount that it did if it had a maker's mark on it. Okay, and on to this, the late Ming kendi. This was a pretty nice little kendi. It had a few glaze flaws here and there, and it appears that the neck was slightly tipped forward, as you can see. Here's another look at it, but a nice looking kendi, beautifully done, good, very typical late Ming work. Here's a picture of the bottom, that nice grungy, sort of oatmeal-y looking foot on it, and lots of little flaws underneath the glaze on the base from the firing and so forth. All right. But it didn't bring a ton of money. It went for $810, which was a very reasonable price for a nice gold kendi. All right. These can bring, with maybe a little better decoration, bring $1,500 to $2,000. Okay. So this was a perfectly good buy for someone. All right. Very nice. And then on to this, the Famille Rose plaque, 19th century, very nicely painted. Interesting, very much of the Chinese taste. No outer border, just a single interior scene with two figures, a man and a woman, sitting at an altar. This nice big underglazed blue screen on the table, some Chinese furniture. There's citron fingers over here. And they're carrying a banner. I'm not sure what the event was about. And there you go. It's got a Daoguan mark on the bottom, and probably from that period. And it did pretty well. It brought $1,037. Nice looking piece. Gunnar Jacobson had this. He also sold the kendi we just looked at. He gets good things. He has a good eye. All right. And now on to this, the paintings. There were 2 of these paintings from this particular seller. I thought they were charming as all could be. This one is a child rolling out scrolls for an old scholar. He's got a bucket of scrolls next to him. But nicely done. Nice pen and ink work on this. A little inscription and signature on it. And these were probably done around 1900 to 1920. I don't think they were probably 19th century, but they're very nicely done. And then this one of the boys flying a kite. I like this a little better. I thought this was sort of cute. The looks on their faces, looking at each other and watching the kite and so forth. And this particular one went for $190. So, and these were decent size, and they were framed. So I think that was a very nice buy for someone. $170 and $190. The framing would cost you that, today anyway. All right, and ready to go on your wall. And they were nice size. They were 18 by 18 inches. Okay. And then on to this. This was that rather unusual. This is Japanese. We don't do a lot with Japanese because we don't see a lot of great Japanese stuff on eBay for some reason. But this was a nice big jar with this grayish blue enamel ground and then all this relief enamel on it. Very finely worked. All right. Japanese stuff these days, you can really see it. This relief enamel of clouds and cranes and so forth. Here's a tree, and they toned it a bit for the bark. And here's a picture of the bottom with a signature that's upside down, but that's okay. You can look it up. All right, but nice quality work. Really, really nice quality. This is all Meiji period stuff, circa 1900, somewhere around in there. But this went fairly reasonably. It went for $384. This was a nice big jar, okay? And it was 24 inches tall, okay? That was a heck of a buy. Nice big Japanese pot. If you like ceramics, you're just a general ceramics fan, this would have been a very good buy. Okay, and then on to this. This was, I think, maybe one of the big bargains of the week. It was a clobbered Kangxi teapot. Okay, let's take a look here. The only thing it had going wrong with it was it had a repair here, and the lid may or may not have been original, but it's almost impossible to tell because maybe they didn't clobber it. But the decoration on this was really nice, and if you like clobberware, this was a great buy. Went for $54. Okay, that's a really reasonable price for that. Bryn too had this up, who's a seller in Cornwall over in the UK, and a nice looking pot. If you like clobbered porcelain, this was kind of pretty. All right. And now on to this. This was a plate that was at Catawiki. A pretty nice looking dish, I must say. And Kangxi period. And it went for $290. Not bad. Not a bad price. It was about 7 or 8 inches in diameter, but it was in good condition. Okay, condition's important. And this was a great buy. This was a 39 centimeter charger, Kangxi period. A well-known pattern, not an extremely rare pattern by any stretch, but 39 centimeters. That's a big boy. It's 15 plus inch platter, and it went for a really reasonable price, $290. Okay, that's not bad for that. I've seen these on eBay in that size go for upwards of $1,200, $1,300 at times. All right. And then on to these. This was a really pretty pair of Yongchen dishes. The enamels on these were lovely. They were very pretty pair of dishes, beautifully done in good condition. I don't see a lot of wear to the enamels anyplace. And these were about 9 inches tall, 9 inches wide, and the pair went for $394. All right, that would have been that's a nice price. That's not a bad price for that. That's a good price to buy them at. All right. And then on to this one. This was a Qin Lung or a late Yongchen plate, but beautifully done. Nice tight drawing. Good Famille rose enamels. I don't see a lot of wear on it. Just a good sample. It was sort of almost like a shallow bowl, and it went for $246, which is I think a perfectly reasonable price. All right, and now let's take a look at what's coming up this week on eBay. Is this very good, probably early 18th century plate. Here's a picture of the back of it, but and it has got a little bit. I love it. It's a good idea when they do these pictures. They tilt the light to let it hit, so you can see any of the slight scratches in the glaze, which you can't see when they shoot like this. But I love the pattern on this. I really do. I think this is really pretty plate with the dragon and that sort of phoenixy looking swirly thing coming up behind them. All right. And so far it's up to, hasn't got any bids. It's at $95. So let's see what happens. This is a seller we don't see a lot of, the Bao Ming collection, but it looks like a perfectly good plate. All right. And then on to this nice big Kangxi period or 18th century kendi. Beautifully done. And that's coming up this week. It just went up last night. It's up to $35. This is seller Welcome All Friends. They get some very nice things from time to time. And then you have this silver tankard, another one of these Chinese export silver tankards, stamped on the bottom here. You can look it up, go check the thing out. All right, it's got the plaque on it was filled in. If you have anybody in your family named Lizzie, here you go. Here's a great Christmas gift. And expect it to bring about $800,000, so I hope Lizzie's one of your favorites. But it just went up over last night. It's up to $14. We'll see how it does. And these are up right now. A nice big pair of Famille Rose vases with interior court scenes on them, second half of the 19th century. And those are up to just $12. All right. Isn't it fun to see them when they're so cheap? And this closes tomorrow. This is the hand warmer that I liked. It's a Japanese hand warmer. The seller has it listed as Chinese bronze hand warmer with turtles and so forth. It's Japanese, and I don't think he's being duplicitous about it. I think it's just they're hard to figure out because most hand warmers are Chinese. All right, but this is a nice one. It's a good one, good bronze on it. It's up to $150. It's a Japanese example. It should bring $300 to $400, I would think. Nice looking pot though. And also this very good Wanli cracked dish with the pair of geese on it, and this nice outer cavetto with the cartouches. It's a real classical piece of Wanli pottery. Here's the back of it, very typical. Nice looking foot on that, nice and smooth. and it's up to $204. It'll do a bit better. He said, the seller said it's slightly warped, which is fairly common with Wanli pieces. And he's calling this a charger. Hold on a second. I didn't check the size on this. I just saw it. I thought it was really pretty. 28 centimeters in diameter. It's not a charger. It's a plate. All right. Chargers, typically, people throw the word charger around a little loosely. Generally speaking, a charger should be 12 or more inches in diameter. 12 inches is the absolute minimum. All right. There's no such thing as a 10-inch charger. All right. They were meant to be under trays to larger plates. All right, and then you have this nice little 19th century Blanc de Chine Fou. It's a good looking one. He's got a little nick off his tail, but the work on this is quite good, and the facial expression of him is really good. I love this face. Here's a picture of the bottom, and it's probably 19th century. It could possibly be a little older, and it's only up to $10, but it's only been up for a day or so. All right, and we're going to mosey over to this. This is this nice little seated Kuan Yin figure in this very translucent green glaze. She's carrying a sort of a root scepter here. There's a couple of little losses on the fingertips, which seems to always happen with these figures in here, but has it got a good looking bottom on that. That's a nice old one. You can see how they molded it, and it's probably 18th or 19th century, I would guess. They didn't put a date in. They didn't venture it for a date. And it's 190 millimeters tall, so it's probably about 5 inches tall or 6 inches tall, and it's up to just $10. All right, and then over to hold on, one more thing over to here. Here's that. Oh yeah, here's the pair of Kangxi tankards, and here's the one that I'd mentioned at the beginning. Is sort of the one on the left here is sort of the shape of that piece of silver. Okay, that's what made me think of it. And this one has a ribbed upper section on going up to the mouth, and along with this one, they're selling. For some reason, they're selling them together, and I didn't see anything about them both being restored or something. But anyway, they're up to $18, and they'll do better than that, of course. And then over at Catawiki, ending tomorrow, is this. This is a really pretty pair of Chinese Amari early 18th century bowls. Beautiful, and they're pairs of bowls from this period are pretty rare. It's a fairly desirable thing. All right, and let's see how they do. If you don't have a Catawiki account, you get one and go over and buy these. And also this nice Clampets bowl, apparently Kangxi period, looks fine to me. Nice looking thing, and has of course a Ming mark on the bottom, which is very typical of these. It's not of course Ming, but it's a nicely shaped bowl with good decoration all the way around, and it is up to $1,161, not surprisingly, and it'll probably do, I would think $1,600 to $2,000, somewhere in that range. But we'll see. Sometimes they don't move after this. So if you like Clampets bowls and you haven't got one, or you want to add to your collection Clampets bowls, come over and get one. All right. And that's it for the week. If you haven't subscribed to us yet on YouTube here, please do, and leave a comment below. We're starting to see a little bits coming out about the September sales in New York. There's a lot of stuff coming on. There's a snuff bottle catalog that'll be going up that we got off of the Christie's thing the other day. We'll be putting that up, and come over to Bidamount and sign up for the newsletter. And if you don't already get it. And we'll keep in touch with you and let you know what's going on out there. All right. Other than that, have a great weekend, and I hope you find something out there that you love. And if you're just relaxing, relax hard. Have a good time relaxing. All right. I'm all in favor of that. Good Lord. And we'll talk to you all next week and bring you up to date again. All right. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.